Artificial intelligence has been the talk of the town recently, and we are seeing it being experimented with more and more in fashion. And different brands are sort of trying it out in different ways, right? So recently Jacquemus released like a social media campaign, as it were. It was a post, it was a reel, right? And it was the Le Bambino bag covering buses, driving around the streets of Paris. Valentino recently has employed AI through their virtual styling chat on their website. Prada used AI for their Paradox social media campaign, so for their new fragrances, all of those were AI generated. We're going to get into what that means, how does one do that, all of it. And even more recently with the Met Gala, Vaquera released pictures of a couple of celebrities wearing their AI generated designs. Not actually in real life, but basically their AI generated fashion designs for the Met Gala that involved a dress made completely out of plastic, one gown made entirely out of trash. And then there was another white, very voluminous gown, and there are other ways that AI is being used as well. So for example, a lot of online retailers and brands, online boutiques are using AI to produce the copy that's used for the product description for individual product listings. You've also got a brand like Levi's that has recently said that they are going to be experimenting with AI models. And sometimes it's not the brands. I don't know if you've heard of Harry Potter by Balenciaga. No, this is not a real thing. This is not a movie that you missed that was a blockbuster hit in your local Odeon. No, this is something created by a YouTube channel called Demon Fly and Fox, and basically well-known characters in Harry Potter. They've also done Batman, Breaking Bad, The Office, Star Wars, to name but a few, have been quote-unquote Balenciaga'd and are shown as basically very sort of high fashion models in couture and whatnot. And the Harry Potter one specifically was the one that went viral first. So, and again, that is all AI generated. That one particularly sort of brings up a conversation that will be covered in this video about IP theft, you know, the Balenciaga of it all, used by this user for these little films. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. So this video doesn't necessarily like come to a conclusion, but basically I've been seeing a lot of chat about AI within fashion, how it's going to be used, what this means, blah blah blah. And in doing my own research, I thought that I would come and show you my findings so that you don't have to wade through all the articles that I did to try and understand this. Now, AI Fashion Week, which was actually 2 days long, happened in April of this year. I believe this was its debut show. So how they orchestrated this was Spring Studios in New York was basically filled with screens, each one showing a different AI generated collection from a number of different designers. Now, the company behind AI Fashion Week is Maison Meta. They are a creative studio that's focusing on AI, and this was done in collaboration with Revolve, who will basically take the 3 winners of AI Fashion Week and put their designs into production. I believe that voting was open. I don't know if it's still open by the same time this comes out, but you might want to go and have a look and cast your vote. So how does this work, right? Like creating an AI collection, like what does that mean? So basically there are AI image generators that you type text prompts into and they spit out an image based on what you've put into that. That means that you have to be extremely specific about what you're after and accurate with your descriptions, and I'm sure it takes a lot of trial and error to sort of have this thing create exactly what you have in your head. And what's very interesting is that the majority of the designers that showed at AI Fashion Week are not formally fashion trained, do not currently work in the fashion industry, and this sort of has the ability to democratize fashion design. You know, in the future or whatever, I mean it's starting now, you may not need formal fashion training or to have gone to, you know, expensive schools or have contacts or the access to those things in order to create a collection or submit your designs in this way. I mean, we're even sort of seeing changes in within big brands with something like the role of creative director for Louis Vuitton Men's given to Pharrell, who doesn't have any, you know, formalised fashion training. I mean, it's different because he sort of has the quote-unquote clout of his name and his platform and all of that, but it's sort of showing that what used to be a fundamental requirement of jobs to work in the role of design in fashion may not be a necessity in the future with tools like this. One designer that showed at AI Fashion Week is a civil rights lawyer who has no intention of quitting her job to do AI fashion design full-time. However, they described it as being fun and easy to do. And the word easy sort of stuck out to me because there is almost this thing of like, should creativity or talent be easy in this industry? And I think the whole conversation around AI is particularly interesting in an industry like fashion where it is about creativity, and there is this fantasy around human creativity and, you know, pushing ourselves and all of that, and that some people just have it, right? And so if it's easy, do you lose that fantasy? It implies like a level of laziness, which I will say we are seeing by some of the big brands in luxury fashion at the moment. I don't know, that was my sort of like reaction. Now, the main issue with AI generated fashion designs is that these generators don't take into account fabrics, what's possible with fabrics, what's humanly possible to create to look the same way as that image, right? And Michael Menthe, or Ment, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, who is, I think, CEO of Revolve, basically likened this to the same thing as when we see something on a runway and what makes it into production, what doesn't, and then what gets changed before something gets put into production. Another issue with AI fashion design is in order for the generator, the machine, the AI, to create an output of a design, it bases the outputs on things that already exist, right? So there then comes an issue of intellectual property theft, copying without the AI fashion designer even realised it's been copied. I mean, this is something that, I mean, is still very much in like its infancy. We're seeing it at its early stages. And I know that worldwide there's been a sort of discussion about AI and regulation around AI. Should things be disclosed as being generated by AI? For example, I don't know if you saw the AI generated Pope jacket that went viral. I thought that the Pope was just like out here really flexing, having a moment. Apparently not, it was completely fake. But something like that, there was a whole discussion around whether this is real or not and everything, and should there be a disclosure on AI generated images. And different countries are sort of going to have different levels of regulation around this. It's all still very much up in the air. Another concern with AI are jobs. Job losses specifically. Well, I do think there are some things that AI can do that will result in job loss. For example, like creating product descriptions, copywriters, what happens to them? I think in some ways there will be jobs that evolve to encompass the AI aspect. For example, maybe in the future fashion designers aren't there sketching on paper and iPads and, you know, using CAD design or whatever, but are also having to learn how to become AI prompt engineers and type out the description of what they want to design using these AI generators. Are you getting confused? I'm getting confused as well. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? And I guess, like, my initial reaction, as I think is this, I don't know, maybe a normal reaction to have, is like, fear, like this is scary, do we even need this, right? Like, has technology gone too far and everything? And I'm sure that that was the same reaction when the internet was created and people were like, do we need this? And, you know, maybe in 10, 15, 20 years time I'll look back and be like, oh my gosh, how stuck in the Stone Age was I and everything, right? Because at the beginning all of these things sound scary. And I'm sure that there are some ways in which it can be useful and it can be used to enhance what is done by human creativity. I don't know. But I was very against all of this. And then I thought of a situation in which I was like, actually, which was, do you remember when Tiffany and Nike came out with their collaboration Air Force One? We were all hugely underwhelmed by it. I know it's lazy and boring and what was the point in it? And there was a designer that had created design using an AI that were amazing, and I think the majority of us would have much preferred that they go into production than the one that they actually did design. And so in those situations it's like, well, maybe it's something that can be used to sort of push human creativity, force a different kind of creativity. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. We still don't know to what extent these things will be adopted and if it will work or if it's a terrible idea and all of that. But I just thought that I would sort of share with you my findings because it's something that I think we're going to have to know about. What do you think about all of this AI business? I'm going to leave a link to the video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah! Bye guys.